Hi friend, I am Lainey Hauser, and today we're going to be talking about vision and dreaming big for your life. What I found is that most people have given up on their dreams. As a little boy or a little girl, they had many dreams that they fantasized about. They had visions for their life. Maybe even as a young adult, they had visions for their life or dreams they'd like to accomplish. And then somewhere along the line, they forgot these dreams. Today, I want to teach you how to live into a new vision, a new dreams for your life, or how to live into the old ones if that's what you choose. The first step into creating a new life is to take an inventory of where you're at. That means sitting down for 20 minutes, and I mean 20 minutes, so set your timer on your phone or on your kitchen clock, set a timer for 15 to 20 minutes, and then sit down and take an inventory of your entire life. Your marriage, your finances, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your parents, your friends, your career. List everything in the current state of everything. Just do a broad inventory of your life and only give yourself 15 to 20 minutes maximum. Set the timer. It'll use your intuitive spirit voice instead of your cognitive brain. And so we really want to dip into that intuitive place in you and bring out the state of your life right now. I was talking to a gal this week and I said, all right, let's sit down and tell me where you're at. Let's take an inventory of where you're at. And she said, oh, well, I feel like I've been dumped. I've been thrown under the bus this week. And I said, oh, really? Well, tell me about that. What do you mean you've been dumped? You've been thrown under the bus? And she said, well, I used to work at this clinic. She's in the medical field. And she said, I used to work at this clinic and it was over here. And then they decided they didn't have enough money. And so they transferred me to a clinic over there. And now they've reopened that clinic and they want me back at the first clinic. This is a year later, 9 months later. And I said, okay, so how did they throw you under the bus? How did they dump you? What does that mean? And she said, well, I just feel like I've been dumped. And I said, okay, well, let's take a look at this. So I said, did you have the opportunity or could you have had a choice to fix yourself up, put on your nicest clothes, and go in and make an appointment with the CEO of your company and tell them why it would have been important to keep your first clinic open in the first place? And she said, well, I suppose I could have. I said, okay, so then you're partly responsible for the closing of it the first time. And she said, well, I suppose. I said, okay, so but you could have made a different choice. And she said, yes. I said, okay. And they wanted you bad enough so they kept you in the company. Well, yes. I said, everybody likes you at your job, I imagine. And she said, well, yes, everybody likes me. And they want you back at the clinic now that they're reopening it. Well, yes. I said, well, how is that dumping you? She goes, well, I guess they didn't really. I said, oh, I see. Okay, so right away, I didn't buy into the story that she had made up that someone had dumped her. And so you've got to do an honest inventory of where you are now before you can begin to change what you and be what you want to be, right? So her inventory was, I got dumped and now I'm being dumped again and I'm going back here, and we could stop, intervene in that and create a new vision or a new creation in her life. Okay, so that's the first step. Take an honest inventory of where you're at. If you feel like you've been dumped, write it down. We can work with that. The second step is to begin to shift your brain once you're done with that into a vision or a dreaming state and write down what you're dreaming about. What do you envision for your life? What do you really, really want from your life? What do you dream about? What did you dream about when you were a kid? What did you dream about as a young adult? Dream those dreams and write them down. Now is your opportunity to write them down. People who write down their visions and dreams have a better chance of making them come true to 90%. That's huge, so write it down. The third step is to take that dream and that vision that you have just created and you've just written down on that piece of paper and now flesh it out. Over the next 10 weeks, what can I do step by step to make this dream or vision come true? What steps can I take for the next 10 weeks to make this dream or vision come true? One of my best friends called me last week and she said, you're never going to believe it. And I said, of course I'm going to believe it. I believe anything, just about. And she said, we paid off $8,000 worth of debt yesterday. Well, I was overjoyed for her and so happy for her. I said, well, tell me about how you did that. And she said, well, you know how we've been talking and about how you talk about vision and dreams and living them out? I said, yes. And she said, well, I sat down and I did an inventory of my life and I realized I wanted to live in a different house. I don't like the house I'm living in now. It's old and I really want to live out where some of my friends live, and so I want to move. But in order to do that, I need to pay off some debt. So I sat down and I wrote out a goal for the next 10 weeks, and I got an extra job. I took extra jobs from the job that I already have, and I sat down with my husband and I talked to him about a plan. We laid out a plan for reaching this goal, and yesterday we were able to pay off $8,000. So she took an honest inventory. She didn't like where she was. She created a new vision. I want to live in a new home. And she step by step laid out how she was going to do that. She took some extra hours at her job. She took an extra job. Her husband took an extra job. They stopped buying crackers and cookies and any kind of snacky food and really cut down to only purchasing the essentials, down to toilet paper and toothpaste and the food that they were going to eat that day. That is it. That's all they spent their money on. And they were able to pay $8,000 of debt within a 6-week period. You're not any different than that. You could do that too if you set your mind to it. And then the fourth piece is enrollment. Enroll those important people around you in your dream and in your vision. Get them on board with you. She got her husband on board. He didn't like that they were in debt either, so he was able to sit down and say, okay, I'm on board. We're going to eat simply. We're going to eat rice and beans if we have to for the next several months to pay off our debt and get us to a new place. And I tell you, she was beaming from ear to ear as she was talking to me and telling me her story of being able to pay off $8,000 worth of debt. So guys, the steps are: take an honest inventory, just like my friend did when she said, well, I was dumped here to there. Take an honest inventory, be real, be honest. Secondly, dream. What would you rather have? What do you want your life to look like? What did you dream about as a kid? Write it down. Third, make some steps, some practical, concrete steps that you can take in the next 10 weeks to achieve that dream or a piece of that dream, to move closer to that dream. And fourth, get those people around you on board with your dream or vision that you have for the next 10 weeks. Enroll them, get them in the program with you, help them to be encouragers and cheerleaders. Tell them exactly what you need for the next 10 weeks to be able to live out your vision or dream in the next 10 weeks. And then email me, let me know what your dreams and visions are, what you've written down on that piece of paper. Subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get more tips about how to live a fantastic, joy-filled, amazing life, because you can. God created us as creative beings, so be in the business of being like Him, creating your own life and going for it. All right, I'm excited to hear about your dreams and visions for your life. Until next time,